My wife cheated on me with the delivery guy. I was ovulating. I couldn't control it, she said. I just nodded. All right. 3 days later, she called me from work sobbing. All right, Reddit. Buckle up because this story is wild from start to finish. This happened about 8 months ago, and I'm finally ready to tell it. My buddy Jake said this needs to be documented for posterity. So here we are. I'm 32, male, work as an operations coordinator for a regional shipping company in Arizona. Not glamorous, but pays well, and I'm good at what I do. Been at the same company for 6 years, got promoted twice, own a decent house in a quiet neighborhood outside Phoenix. Paid off my car last year, solid retirement account growing, living the responsible adult dream. My wife Rachel and I got married 4 years ago. Met through mutual friends, she worked as a dental hygienist downtown. Pretty standard love story, nothing dramatic. She seemed normal, had her life together, wasn't bringing chaos everywhere. After 2 years of dating, we got married at a resort in Sedona with about 70 guests. Marriage was fine for the first 3 years. Not fireworks every day, but solid and stable. We both worked, split bills, had our routines. She'd complain sometimes that I worked too much or we didn't do enough romantic stuff, but nothing that seemed like a real problem. Normal marriage friction. Our house is this 3-bedroom ranch with a decent backyard. When we bought it, Rachel got super into the homeowner thing. Spent weeks picking paint colors, reorganizing the kitchen, buying matching furniture. She joined every neighborhood Facebook group, knew everyone's business within months. I upgraded the garage into my workspace, got a workbench, organized my tools, installed better lighting. Spent weekends fixing things around the house. Rachel called it excessive, but appreciated never calling a repairman. The thing about Rachel is she needs constant validation, always checking social media, comparing our life to other couples, asking if I still found her attractive. I'd reassure her, but it never stuck. Like pouring water into a bucket with no bottom. She'd post carefully staged photos of us on Instagram with captions about being blessed and me being her rock. Meanwhile, at home, she'd scroll through her phone, ignoring me for hours. The performative relationship thing people do now. I didn't love it, but figured that's how people are these days. By year 4, things started feeling more like roommates than partners. We'd have dinner, watch TV, go to bed. Weekends were errands and house projects. Nothing terrible, but nothing exciting either. I figured this was just what marriage became after the honeymoon phase wore off. My parents had been together 35 years, and they seemed about the same level of engaged with each other. Then about 9 months ago, Rachel started ordering stuff online constantly. And I mean constantly. Packages showing up every single day, sometimes multiple times a day. At first, I figured she was just shopping more, maybe feeling some kind of retail therapy urge. Didn't think much of it. She'd always been into online shopping, but this was next level. Every day there'd be boxes on the porch, clothes, home decor, kitchen gadgets, random stuff from Amazon and Target, and every other site you can imagine. Our credit card bill jumped by like $600 a month just from her ordering random things. When I asked her about it, she'd get defensive. Said she was buying things we needed for the house, that she was finally making our place look nice, that I should be happy she was taking pride in our home. Whatever. Her money too, she worked, so I let it go. Figured it was better than her going out and spending money at bars or something. What I didn't notice at first was that she started caring a lot more about her appearance on days when packages were expected. She'd check the tracking obsessively, make sure she was home during the delivery window, put on makeup, and fix her hair before the doorbell rang. I noticed but didn't connect the dots because I'm apparently an idiot. The delivery guy was the same person most of the time. Local courier service, drives one of those white vans with their company logo. Guy was maybe mid-20s, looked like he spent every free hour at the gym, had that whole pretty boy thing going. The kind of dude who knows he's attractive and uses it. His name was Brett. Of course it was Brett. Rachel started mentioning him. How nice the delivery guy was. How polite and professional. I remember thinking it was weird she was talking about the delivery guy at all, but didn't think too hard about it. She started timing things so she'd be outside when he showed up. Watering plants that didn't need watering, checking the mailbox, suddenly needing to sweep the porch right as the van pulled up. I'd see it from the window sometimes while working from home. She'd chat with him for 5-10 minutes. This went on for maybe 2 months. The ordering increased, the conversations got longer, and Rachel started dressing nicer, even when she wasn't going anywhere. Full makeup to sit at home watching Netflix. Started going to the gym more, bought new clothes, seemed more energetic. I'm not a suspicious person by nature. Never was the jealous type. Always figured if someone's going to cheat, they'll cheat regardless of how closely you watch. But even I started noticing something felt off. Rachel was on her phone constantly, smiling at messages, typing rapidly, then deleting before sending. One night about 3 months ago, I asked her straight up if something was going on. She looked at me like I'd accused her of murder, got all offended, said I was being paranoid and controlling, asked if I was projecting because maybe I was the one cheating. The whole defensive playbook. I backed off because I didn't have proof and didn't want to be that guy. But I started paying more attention after that. I noticed she'd angle her phone away from me when texting. She'd take her phone to the bathroom, which she never did before. She started staying up later than me, and I'd hear her phone buzzing with notifications from the bedroom while I was in the living room. The real kicker was when I came home early from work one day, about 2.5 months ago. Had a meeting canceled, so I left the office around 2 instead of my usual 5:30. Pulled into the driveway and saw the white delivery van parked in front of our house. Weird, but not damning. Maybe just dropping off a package. I walked up to the front door and it was locked, which was odd because Rachel's car was in the driveway. I used my key to get in. The house was quiet. Too quiet. No TV, no music, nothing. I called out for Rachel and got no response. Started walking through the house and that's when I heard it. Sounds coming from our bedroom. Not anything innocent. I stood in the hallway for probably 30 seconds, processing what I was hearing. Part of me wanted to kick the door down and lose my mind, but a bigger part of me went completely cold and calm. That detached feeling you get when something so absurd is happening that your brain can't quite believe it's real. I walked back to the living room, sat down on the couch, and waited. About 10 minutes later, I heard the bedroom door open. Footsteps, some whispered conversation, then Brett walking out pulling his shirt on. He froze when he saw me sitting there, went pale. I just looked at him, didn't say anything, didn't move, just made eye contact and watched him squirm. He mumbled something like, "Sorry, man," and basically ran out the front door. I heard his van start up and peel out. Rachel came out a minute later, saw me sitting there, and stopped dead. She was wearing one of my old college shirts and had that post-everything disheveled look. The thing is, I didn't feel angry. I felt nothing. Just this weird, empty calm. Like watching someone else's life fall apart from a distance. She stood there opening and closing her mouth like a fish for probably 15 seconds before any words came out. Finally managed to say, "I can explain." I raised an eyebrow. "Sure, let's hear it." I was ovulating. I couldn't control it. I literally laughed. Not like a bitter, angry laugh, but genuine, surprised amusement. What? My hormones were all over the place. When you're ovulating, you have these biological urges that are almost impossible to ignore. It's science. I read about it. Women in their fertile window are biologically programmed to seek out the best genetic material. And Brett is objectively very attractive and fit. And it just happened. I sat there processing this absolute nonsense. So you're saying your ovaries made you cheat? I'm saying the biological imperative to procreate overrode my rational decision-making. It's not like I planned it. It just happened naturally because my body was in that phase of my cycle. How long has this been going on? She hesitated, calculating in her head. About 6 weeks. 6 weeks. And how many times? Does that matter? Humor me. Maybe 15 times? I don't know, I wasn't counting. 15 times? Multiple times a week. Scheduled around her cycle, apparently. I nodded slowly, taking it all in. So just to be clear, you've been sleeping with the delivery guy for 6 weeks, and your explanation is that your ovulation made you do it. I'm not saying it's an excuse, I'm saying it's an explanation. You don't understand how powerful these hormones are. I couldn't help myself. And now that you're not ovulating anymore? She looked confused. What? Well, you're not ovulating right now. That only lasts a few days each month. So for the rest of the time, what's the excuse? She didn't have an answer for that. Just sat there looking caught. I stood up. All right. All right, what? All right. I heard your explanation. Thanks for sharing. She looked panicked. That's it? You're not going to yell or get angry or anything? Nope. We're good. We're good? What does that mean? Means exactly what it sounds like. Don't worry about it. I walked to our bedroom, grabbed my laptop and a few personal items, and walked back out. Rachel was standing in the living room looking completely confused. Where are you going? Out. I'll be staying somewhere else for a bit. Wait, can we talk about this? Nothing to talk about. You explained everything. I get it. Biology, hormones, very scientific. Are you being sarcastic? I looked at her with the most neutral expression I could manage. No. Then I left. I went to Jake's place. He's my best friend since high school, lives alone in an apartment downtown, works as an electrical engineer, and keeps his life drama-free, which is exactly why we've stayed friends for 15 years. I showed up at his door around 8 p.m. He took one look at my face and said, What happened? Told him the whole story. Every detail from coming home early to the sounds in the bedroom to Rachel's insane ovulation defense. He listened without interrupting, which is rare for Jake because he usually has commentary on everything. When I finished, he was silent for a solid minute, just stared at me processing what he'd heard. Then he said, "Ovulation." She blamed ovulation. Yep, that's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. And I once had a coworker try to explain to me that the moon landing was faked because shadows don't work that way. Yep. So what's the plan? Because you've got that look you get when you're about to methodically dismantle someone's entire existence. Give me 3 days. I need to handle some things. He grabbed 2 sodas from his fridge, handed me one, and sat down. You need my couch, my spare room, or just someone to help you move stuff. Probably all 3 at some point. You got it. Fair warning, though. If I see Rachel, I'm going to have some words for her. Don't. She's not worth the energy. He nodded. You're way calmer about this than I would be. I'm furious. I'm just not showing it because showing it doesn't accomplish anything. And that was the truth. I was angry, obviously, but not the explosive kind of angry, where you punch walls and yell. The cold, calculated kind, where you make lists and execute plans. The kind of angry that comes from complete clarity about what needs to happen next. See, here's what Rachel didn't understand about me. I don't do messy emotional reactions. I don't scream and break things and make dramatic scenes. When someone disrespects me, I go completely quiet, handle the logistics, and remove them from my life with surgical precision. It's just how I'm wired. My dad was like this too. I remember when his business partner tried to screw him over years ago. Dad didn't yell or threaten or get dramatic. He just spent 2 weeks going through contracts and documentation with a lawyer, then dissolved the partnership and started his own company. The partner went bankrupt within a year while Dad's business thrived. Taught me early that strategic thinking beats emotional reactions every single time. So that night I stayed at Jake's place, slept on his couch, and started making my mental checklist of everything that needed to happen. Couldn't sleep anyway, so I ended up sitting in his living room until 3 a.m., just planning it all out step by step. The next morning I called out sick from work. Sent an email to my boss around 6 a.m. saying I had a family emergency and needed a few days. My boss Dave is cool. We've worked together for 4 years, and he's never been the micromanaging type. Didn't ask questions, just told me to take care of what I needed and keep him posted. Nice having a boss who treats you like an adult. Then I got to work on the logistics. First stop was a lawyer's office. Found one that could see me same day. Showed up at 10:30. Patricia Hendricks, been practicing family law for 23 years. Laid out the whole situation in 15 minutes. She took notes, asked good questions, didn't judge. Do you have any documentation? She asked. Not yet, but I can get it. Get it. Arizona's no fault, but documentation helps with property division. Text messages, emails, credit card statements showing unusual purchases. The more evidence, the stronger your position. We talked about the house. Told her I'd put down 70% of the down payment from pre-marriage savings. That's your separate property, she said. You'll get that back in full before splitting equity. Do you have documentation? Bank statements, purchase paperwork. I keep good records. Perfect. She spent an hour explaining the divorce process. What to expect, how long it would take, likely outcomes. Her retainer was $5,000. I wrote the check right there. She'd have papers ready in 2 business days. As I was leaving, she said, "You're handling this better than most people do. Stay this calm and you'll walk away in great shape." Nice to have a professional confirm my approach wasn't cold, just practical. Next stop was the bank. We had joint checking and savings at a credit union, about $40,000 in savings total. Walked in, explained I was separating and needed to split the accounts. The manager, Lisa, came out. "We can do that. You'll be taking 50%? Exactly 50%. She set up new accounts in just my name, transferred $1,800 from checking and $20,000 from savings. Left Rachel with her half. Took about an hour. Lisa printed statements showing the exact amounts for my lawyer. "You're doing this the right way," she said. "Fair and documented. That'll look good if this goes to court." After the bank, I grabbed lunch, sat in my truck making more lists, then spent the afternoon canceling shared bills and subscriptions. Phone plan was in my name. Called the carrier, removed Rachel's line. She'd get a notification and need her own plan. Streaming services, Netflix, Hulu, Disney Plus, HBO Max, Spotify, some fitness app Rachel wanted. All on my credit card. Canceled everything. She could set up her own. Car insurance was bundled. Split it into 2 separate policies. Mine on autopay, hers would need to handle payment herself. Gym membership was this expensive family plan Rachel insisted on. Canceled it, got a solo membership somewhere cheaper. Credit cards. We had a joint card for house expenses, about $4,000 in balance from repairs I'd done. Closed it, moved the balance to my own card since the charges were mine anyway. The house was the tricky part. We'd bought it together, but I'd put down the majority of the down payment from money I'd saved before we met. Told the lawyer about that. He said we could work it out in the settlement. For now, I wasn't going anywhere. Rachel could stay there, but I was coming back. By the end of day one, I was exhausted. Went back to Jake's place around 7 p.m., ordered pizza, and told him everything I'd accomplished. He listened and said, "Rachel probably thinks you're falling apart right now. She has no idea you spent the day systematically dismantling your entire shared life. She'll find out soon enough." What's day two? Documentation and property. Need evidence for the lawyer and to figure out the house situation. Second day started with going back to the house. Rachel's car was gone when I pulled up around 9 a.m. She was at work, usually got there by 8, and didn't come home until 5:30. Had a solid 8 hours to work with. Let myself in with my key. Place looked the same as it had 2 days ago. Coffee cup still sitting on the counter from that morning. Her shoes by the door. Everything normal except nothing was normal anymore. First thing I did was check our shared iPad. Rachel had been sloppy. Her messages app was logged in and I could see everything. Months of conversations with Brett. Started innocent, got flirtier, then explicit, then making plans. All time-stamped, all documented. I spent 2 hours taking screenshots of everything. Saved them all to cloud storage. Messages where she complained about me being boring. Messages where she planned their meetings around my work schedule. Messages where her friends Brittany and Amanda encouraged the whole thing and made jokes about her hot delivery guy. There were photos she'd sent Brett of our house, our bedroom. She'd literally been showing him our home while planning to betray me in it. Screenshot everything. Organized by date. Complete timeline of the affair. The lawyer would love this. Next, I went through credit card statements. The pattern was obvious. Starting 3 months ago, charges for new clothes, expensive workout gear, lingerie. All timed with when the affair started. Amazon account history showed the same thing. 3 months before the affair, maybe 10 orders total. During the affair, probably 150 items. Cheap stuff that didn't matter. Just excuses for more delivery visits. Printed everything. Highlighted the patterns. Added to my documentation folder. Checked our shared computer. Browser history showed searches for, "Is it cheating if you're unhappy?" and "Can hormones make you cheat?" She'd actually Googled whether hormones could cause infidelity before using it as her excuse. More screenshots, more documentation. Around noon, I took a break. Made a sandwich, sat at the kitchen table thinking about this house where we'd lived for 3 years. All of it now just evidence in a divorce case. After lunch, I focused on property. The house we'd bought for $280,000 put down $60,000 total. I'd contributed $40,000, Rachel $20,000. Split the mortgage payments evenly from our joint account. Checked Zillow. Similar houses selling for around $340,000. About $60,000 in equity beyond our down payment. Did the math. My $40,000 down payment came back as separate property. The $60,000 equity split 50-50 meant 30 each. I'd walk away with 70 grand from the house, Rachel would get 50. With the 20 from savings, I'd have 90,000 to start fresh. Made notes about repairs and upgrades. New water heater, roof repairs, new appliances. About 10,000 in improvements from my accounts. The lawyer could help me claim that as separate property investment. Spent the afternoon cataloging everything in the house. Every piece of furniture, every appliance, every item of value. Took photos of everything. Clear record before dividing property. Around 5 p.m., I heard a car door outside. Rachel's car pulling into the driveway. I'd been there about 8 hours and accomplished everything I needed to. Grabbed my documentation folder, my laptop, and headed for the door. She came in just as I was leaving. Saw me walking out with stuff and froze. "What are you doing here?" "Getting what I needed. I'll be back for the rest of my things soon. We need to talk about this." "Nothing to talk about. You'll be getting divorce papers soon. Read them. Why are you being like this?" I stopped and looked at her. Really looked at her. This person I'd been married to for 4 years, who'd thrown it all away for a delivery guy and blamed her biology. "I'm not being like anything, Rachel. I'm just handling business. You made your choice. Now I'm making mine." Also found messages where she'd told her friends about it. Not all her friends. Just 2 close ones who apparently thought it was exciting and romantic. They'd been encouraging her, calling Brett her hot delivery guy, making jokes about getting her packages delivered. Real quality people. I screenshot everything, saved it all to a cloud drive, and sent copies to my lawyer. Third day, I went back to the house. Rachel's car wasn't there, so I let myself in. Place looked the same as always. I packed up all my personal belongings. Clothes, important documents, my tools from the garage, anything that was solely mine. Took maybe 3 hours to load everything into a moving truck I'd rented. Left all the furniture since we'd bought most of it together. Left all the kitchen stuff, decorations, all that shared property. Just took what was legally and clearly mine. I'm not a thief, and I wasn't going to give her ammunition to play victim. Before I left, I canceled our pest control service, our lawn care service, and the cleaning service we'd been using. All things I'd been paying for. She could handle that stuff herself now. Also turned off the automatic payment for the HOA fees, since those came from my account. She'd figure it out when they sent her a late notice. Last thing I did was leave the divorce papers on the kitchen counter with a note. Kept it simple. You'll need to sign these. Lawyer's contact information is attached. I'll be staying with friends for now, but we'll need to discuss the house situation soon. I've taken half of what was in our accounts, which is fair. You're welcome to hire your own lawyer if you want. I have documentation of everything. Then I locked the door, dropped my house key through the mail slot, and left. That was day 3. Right around 3 in the afternoon on that third day, my phone started blowing up. Rachel was calling over and over. I didn't answer. She left voicemails crying, begging me to call her back, saying we needed to talk. I deleted them without listening all the way through. Then the texts started. Wall after wall of text messages. Please call me back. We need to talk about this. You can't just leave like this. This isn't fair. I made a mistake, but we can work through it. You're throwing away 4 years of marriage. Everyone makes mistakes. I didn't respond to any of them. Then around 6 p.m., my phone rang again. Different number this time, I answered. Hello. It was Rachel, sobbing so hard I could barely understand her. You need to come home right now. Why would I do that? Because everything's falling apart and I can't handle this. And you just left without talking to me about any of this. We talked. You explained about your ovulation. I said we were good. What else was there to discuss? You said we were good. I thought that meant you were okay with it. No, I said we were good. As in, I heard you. I understood the situation. We're good on communication. That's not what that means. That's absolutely what that means. She was full-on hysterical at this point. You took half the money from our accounts. Correct. It's my money. Half of it. How am I supposed to pay bills? With your half of the money, plus your job. You know, like an adult. You canceled all the services. I canceled services I was paying for. You can set up your own if you want them. The HOA sent me a late notice. Yeah, because the automatic payment was from my account and I turned it off. You should probably pay that. I got divorce papers. You're seriously divorcing me over one mistake? 15 mistakes by your own count. But who's keeping track? I can't believe you're doing this. I thought you loved me. Here's where I finally let a little edge into my voice. Rachel, you had an affair with the delivery guy for 6 weeks. You blamed it on ovulation, which is hands down the dumbest excuse I've ever heard. You scheduled it around my work hours like you were planning a surprise party. You told your friends about it, and they thought it was funny. And when I caught you, you didn't apologize. You gave me a biology lecture. So yeah, I'm divorcing you. This isn't complicated. But we can work through this. Couples survive affairs all the time. Maybe. But see, I don't want to work through it. I don't want to go to counseling and unpack your feelings and learn to trust again. I don't want to wonder every time you order something online if you're seeing bread again. I'm just done. You're being cruel. I'm being practical. There's a difference. Where am I supposed to go? This is my house too. Figure it out. You can stay there until we work out the property settlement, or you can leave. Your choice. But I'm not coming back to live there while you're there. Everyone's going to think I'm a terrible person. And there it was. Not that she felt bad about what she did. Not that she regretted hurting me. She was worried about how she looked to other people. Rachel, you are a terrible person. You cheated on your husband repeatedly and blamed it on your menstrual cycle. Yes, people will think you're terrible because you are. She just sobbed harder. Look, sign the papers. Get a lawyer if you want, but it's not going to change much. Arizona's a no-fault state, but I've got documentation of your affair which affects division of assets and spousal support. You're employed, so you don't need alimony. We'll split what we can split and sell the house. It's pretty straightforward. I don't want a divorce. I want you to come home. Not happening. Listen, I need to go. You've got my lawyer's information. Have your lawyer contact mine and we'll work out the details. Wait, don't. I hung up. She called back immediately. I declined the call. She called again. Declined. Eventually, I just blocked her number. For the next 2 weeks, my phone exploded with attempts at contact. She tried calling from other numbers. She texted from her friends' phones. She sent me emails. She even tried messaging me on old social media accounts I barely used. All the same stuff. Crying, begging, promising to change, saying it was a mistake, claiming she never loved Brett, swearing she'd do anything to fix this. The usual breakup playbook. I didn't respond to any of it. Complete radio silence. My lawyer said she still hadn't hired her own attorney or responded to the papers, just avoiding dealing with reality. He sent her another set via certified mail with a deadline. Either respond or he'd file for default judgment. That apparently scared her enough to finally get a lawyer. Some guy who probably took one look at the case and realized he wasn't working with much. Can't really defend I cheated because of ovulation in legal proceedings. Her lawyer contacted mine. Tried to argue I'd been emotionally neglectful, that Rachel felt unappreciated, that the affair was a symptom of deeper marriage problems. My lawyer sent over the documentation. That shut it down quick. They tried claiming I'd stolen money by taking my half of our accounts. Lawyer explained community property law. They tried saying I'd left her financially vulnerable by canceling services. Lawyer pointed out those were services I paid for. Every argument got shut down with documentation and legal precedent. The house was the main issue. I wanted my down payment back plus half the equity. She wanted to keep the house or force a sale where she'd get half of everything. Problem was, I had documentation. My down payment was pre-marriage savings. Separate property under Arizona law. Eventually, we settled. I got my full down payment back. We split the equity 50-50 and agreed to sell. I waived claim to her retirement accounts. She waived claim to mine. We each kept our own cars. Divided furniture fairly. No spousal support either way. Took about 4 months. Could have been faster, but Rachel kept dragging her feet, hoping I'd change my mind. When she realized I wasn't coming back, she signed. During those 4 months, some interesting things came to light. Turns out Brett the delivery guy had a girlfriend. She found out about his affair with Rachel because someone saw him at our house during what should have been work hours and reported it to his company. Company investigated, found out he was sleeping with a customer on company time and fired him. His girlfriend dumped him immediately after. Rachel's friends who'd been encouraging the affair? Yeah, their husbands found out about that. One of those marriages imploded too. The other couple went to counseling, but apparently it's not going well. Turns out men don't love hearing their wives were cheerleaders for infidelity. Rachel's family was mortified when they found out. Her parents called me to apologize, said they didn't raise her to be like that, offered to testify on my behalf if needed. I told them it wasn't necessary, but appreciated the support. Her sister blocked her on social media and didn't talk to her for months. The neighborhood gossip mill went crazy. Small community, everyone knows everyone, and word spread fast. Rachel became that woman who cheated with the delivery guy. She couldn't go anywhere without people talking. Eventually, she had to move out of the area entirely. Her work found out too. Small dental practice, family-run business, very conservative owners. They didn't fire her, but they made it clear they weren't happy. She ended up quitting and finding a job somewhere else because the environment got so uncomfortable. Brett ended up having to change careers entirely. Turns out when you get fired from a delivery company for sleeping with customers, other delivery companies don't want to hire you. Word spreads in those industries. Last I heard, he was working retail. As for me, life got significantly better almost immediately. The stress of being in a dying marriage evaporated. I didn't realize how much energy I'd been putting into maintaining something that wasn't working until I stopped having to do it. I found a great apartment downtown, one of those newer buildings with actual amenities and a decent gym. Shorter commute to work, better location for going out, more space than I actually needed. Set it up exactly how I wanted with nobody complaining about my choices. Work-wise, I got promoted about 2 months after the separation. My boss said my performance had improved significantly. Makes sense. I wasn't mentally drained from a bad relationship anymore. Had energy to focus on my career and actually advance. Started going to the gym regularly. Not because I needed to prove anything, but because I had the time and energy for it. Got in better shape than I'd been in years. Started sleeping better, eating better, just generally feeling healthier. Socially, things improved too. Started hanging out with friends more, went on a few dates here and there, joined a recreational sports league. Nothing serious on the dating front yet, but I'm not rushing it. Taking time to just enjoy being single and figuring out what I actually want. The divorce finalized about a month ago. House sold in 3 weeks, market was good. Got my down payment back plus my half of the equity. Walked away with $70,000 from the house, $20,000 from savings. $90,000 total to start fresh. Found a great apartment downtown within a week of the house closing. One of those newer buildings with floor-to-ceiling windows and actual amenities. Signed a year lease, moved in the same day. Set it up exactly how I wanted without anyone complaining about my furniture choices or color schemes. Work-wise, I got promoted 2 months after the separation. My boss Dave called me into his office, said my performance had improved significantly, gave me a 15% raise and a better title, asked if everything was okay at home. I told him I'd handled some personal issues and was in a better place now. He nodded, didn't push for details. The promotion meant better hours and more flexibility. Started hitting the gym at 6 a.m. before work. Got in the best shape I'd been in since college. Down 15 pounds, actually have visible abs now. Feels good. Started dating casually about 3 months post-separation. Nothing serious yet, but went on some decent dates. Met a woman named Claire at a friend's barbecue last month. She's a physical therapist, has her life together, doesn't create unnecessary drama. We've been seeing each other twice a week. She thinks it's funny that I'm the most organized person she's ever met. I'll take it. As for Rachel, the consequences kept rolling in without me having to do anything. Turns out Brett, the delivery guy, wasn't just seeing Rachel. His girlfriend found out because someone in our neighborhood saw his van parked at our house during work hours and reported it to his company. Company investigated, found out he was sleeping with a customer on the clock, fired him immediately. His girlfriend dumped him the same day she found out. Brett tried to get another delivery job, but word spreads in those industries. Nobody wanted to hire the guy who got fired for sleeping with customers. Last I heard from Jake, who ran into him at a gas station. Brett's working retail at some electronics store making minimum wage. Went from decent delivery driver pay with benefits to barely scraping by. Rachel's two friends who encouraged the affair, Brittany and Amanda, both had their own marriages blow up. Brittany's husband found out she'd been cheering Rachel on and lost his mind. Kicked her out, filed for divorce within 2 weeks. Amanda's husband found the messages where she was living vicariously through Rachel's affair. They're in counseling, but he moved into the guest room, and word is they're probably done. Rachel's family cut her off almost immediately. Her mom called me the week after I filed, apologized for her daughter's behavior, said she was ashamed. Her dad sent me a text saying he respected how I handled everything, and that I was always welcome at their house regardless of what Rachel did. Her sister blocked her on all social media and didn't speak to her for 4 months. The neighborhood gossip destroyed Rachel's social life. Small community. Everyone knows everyone. She became that woman who cheated with the delivery guy. Couldn't go to the grocery store without people talking. Her friends stopped inviting her to things. She got excluded from the neighborhood Facebook groups. Completely iced out. Her work situation got ugly too. The dental practice she worked at was family-owned, very conservative values. When the dentist who owned the place found out about the affair, he didn't fire her, but made it clear she wasn't getting any raises or promotions. Ever. The other hygienist stopped being friendly. She ate lunch alone in her car every day. She quit after 2 months of that treatment, found a job at a different practice across town, but took a pay cut because she couldn't explain why she left her previous job without looking bad. Then, the money problems hit her. Rachel had gotten used to splitting bills with me, having shared expenses, living in a house that was affordable on 2 incomes. Suddenly, she was paying full rent on an apartment by herself, covering all her own bills, and dealing with the credit card debt she'd racked up during the affair buying new clothes. She had to sell her car and get something cheaper. Moved from a nice 2-bedroom apartment to a studio in a worse part of town. Started picking up weekend shifts at her dental practice just to make ends meet. About 6 weeks ago, she tried to reach out one more time. Sent me a long email about how she'd been doing a lot of thinking, how she realized what she'd lost, how therapy had helped her understand she'd been looking for external validation instead of working on herself, how she understood now that I was a good husband and she threw it all away. Ended the email asking if maybe we could get coffee and talk. Said she wasn't asking to get back together, just wanted closure and to apologize properly. I read it once, deleted it, and didn't respond. 2 weeks after that, Jake told me Rachel had apparently started dating again. Some guy she met on a dating app. Jake's girlfriend saw them at a restaurant and said Rachel looked miserable the entire time. The guy was on his phone half the dinner. Then last week I ran into Rachel at Target. I was grabbing some stuff from my apartment, turned down an aisle, and there she was. She saw me immediately, froze like a deer in headlights. I nodded at her. Rachel. Hey. She looked terrible. Dark circles under her eyes, hair pulled back in a messy ponytail, wearing sweatpants and an old college shirt. The woman who used to spend an hour getting ready to go anywhere. Awkward silence for about 5 seconds. You look good, she said finally. Really good. Thanks. Been staying active. I heard you got promoted. Congratulations. Appreciate it. How's the new job? It's fine. Different environment, but fine. Another silence. She was holding a basket with instant ramen and frozen meals. The kind of stuff you buy when you're broke and don't have energy to care. Look, I don't know if you got my email. I did. And? And nothing. We're divorced. We're done. There's nothing to talk about. Her eyes got watery. I just wanted to apologize. To explain, you explained everything already. Ovulation, remember? Very scientific. She flinched. That was stupid. I was looking for any excuse that wasn't just admitting I screwed up. Yeah, you did screw up, and now you're dealing with the consequences. That's how it works. I know, I miss what we had. You miss the stability, the shared expenses, someone handling half the bills. That's not the same as missing me. She didn't deny it. I need to finish shopping, I said. Take care of yourself. I walked past her down the aisle. Didn't look back. Heard her start crying softly behind me, but kept walking. That was the last time I saw her. Haven't heard from her since. These days I'm doing great. Better apartment, better job, better shape, better life. Started taking weekend trips with friends. Picked up some hobbies I'd let slide during the marriage. Joined a recreational basketball league. Got a new truck last month. Something I'd wanted for years, but Rachel always said was unnecessary. Guys, we are so close to hit 100,000 subscribers on this channel. If you are not subscribed to the channel, please consider subscribing. It really helps hit that 100,000 mark. Thanks for making this dream come true.